Make sure we're.
Hello, IoTeX community. Happy Q3, start of July. Have a special treat for you in our next live AMA with Raullen, co-founder, CEO of IoTeX, and Xinxin, co-founder and head of cryptography. My name is Larry. I do business development at IoTeX, and today we're just having this live stream AMA just to kick things off for Q3. I think we're all excited for a big quarter and a big next rest of 2019. But what's been up with you guys? Can you give a little brief update on life, both in and out of work?
Yeah, almost no life first, right? So mostly like work. So basically, to kick off Q3, there are lots of new initiatives like we have been identified. So on the tech side, basically we are like a structure, like all the features needed for beta, and some of the features has been done. For example, like the analytics, we have been done and launched a few weeks ago. But like still there are like a list of features we want to get it done in beta, which will be launched hopefully in September. There will, like a beta will be like some like a version of IoTeX blockchain that really focus on trying to be developer friendly, trying to be like feature complete, and also trying to be stable and decentralized enough. So all the features we're currently like picking up right now is around decentralization and also developer friendliness. So that's on the tech side. And also like we do lots of things non-tech, right? Larry and me and also Xinxin is we are trying to onboard like even more partners, especially from like the traditional world, like the internet companies, IoT companies. Yeah, we have lots of conversation with them, trying to structure like an entire partnership.
Definitely. Yeah. Xinxin, how are you doing? I know you were at a security conference most of last week.
Yes. So actually, also very busy for these days. We have a lot of activities and meetings planned. And also, in the tech side, we are planning for the Q3, Q4. A lot of things to consider how we're moving forward.
Definitely.
For the IoTeX platform. Many exciting features will be added into our platform. And also, some research activities, in progress. And we plan a lot for next steps.
Definitely. And when these two guys say we have a lot planned, then they mean it. So there's a lot of great things coming down the road. Xinxin's been working on a lot of AVO board research and also writing some new papers, which should be coming out very soon. We all know how much we love Xinxin's papers, so excited for that. And as Raullen mentioned, one thing we wanted to start off with is just sharing more around this IoTeX analytics that we just released. So we use a query language called GraphQL, and we built this into two places. One is the analytics playground at analytics.iotexscan.io. And that's kind of like a predefined database that, we've created a lot of metrics that make it very easy for anyone, even those without any programming knowledge, to really query useful metrics like delegate rewards, number of votes, different things related to the blockchain and the IoTeX network. And then there's also an API gateway on our Explorer. If you go to iotexscan.io and you click tools, you'll see, I think it's called Explorer Playground. And that is more reading data directly from the blockchain. So more custom, those queries take longer. They're not as instant as this predefined database, but we really encourage everyone to check it out. And we'll have, an instructional video on how to, write your first query very soon. Anything to add on, why it's important that we release these kind of analytics?
Right, because our design philosophy is very clear. So we want like the blockchain itself to be like a pure blockchain, right? So that's like the essence of the blockchain is trying to be secure and decentralized. All the features trying to improve, scalability, trying to improve like a usability should build on top of the blockchain layer. So like the analytics thing is still like follow this design philosophy. So we have this as like a microservice, which like constantly fetch data from the blockchain, then ingest this, index the data, everything into like a MySQL database. Then that makes the user very easy to query what is going on with like IoTeX blockchain, and what for example like our delegates, they're asking all the time like who voted for them, right? So how can I like cash back to them, for example? So this type of data is really needed for them. But it's really hard to to fetch every bit from the blockchain, because the blockchain itself is like a slow and not that user friendly. So that's why we have this kind of a very thin middle layer, trying to help like users, developers, delegates to have a better experience with IoTeX blockchain. So that's the idea.
Definitely. And in addition to these analytics playgrounds that give you the power to query your own analytics, there's more tools and stuff coming also to add transparency. I had a great conversation actually with Everstake, and they're going to build a kind of a rewards tracker Telegram bot that anyone can kind of also query this bot, and it'll tell you when your specific account receive rewards and things like that. So more to come on that, but happy to see the delegate community and the developer community also pitching in to help the greater good.
Very cool.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So like follow that, right? So basically, we're also thinking about building like another microservice to even like help our delegates and the voters easier. For now, like lots of our delegates, they are diligent enough, so they distribute like the rewards every day, every week, every month. But like some of them are not doing really great job. Probably they're pretty busy. They don't know how to use all the tools we provided, right? So another idea actually is floating around the team is trying to have like an automatic kind of service for delegates. So you can like get all your rewards, send it to our service, and our service is a centralized service though, right? We'll try to reward all your voters, whatever, automatically without like bothering anything. And also like a delegate yourself, you will get like your reward as well. So this is still like ideation stage for now, but I think that's a really very good thing to also demonstrate like we want to to be inclusive for all our users, voters, and delegates. Want to make your life easier. Yeah,
definitely. So those are some updates on the delegate program and the IoTeX blockchain side. Before we dive into your pre-submitted and your live questions, I want to just provide one more update on VITA. So it's been a couple weeks since VITA has been launched. We see thousands of you already claiming VITA almost every day. It's really encouraging to see people logging in and claiming their VITA. There's a lot of plans we have for VITA, including new exchange listings coming up, as well as different tools and ways to use VITA. So we've always thought of VITA as this token that circulates throughout the IoTeX community, kind of rewarding active community members, allowing them to use their VITA to reward themselves with IoT products or different privileges in the network, or in the future integration with even third-party applications and things like that. So the next steps for VITA are we are going to be holding the Genesis voter airdrop coming soon. That's going to come immediately after. Do you want to share a little something on the Ledger integration? I think it's pretty straightforward, but yeah, it's coming.
So yeah,
I know you've been asking for it.
Yeah, Ledger integration is a very important piece for the VITA applications, and also important piece for integrate the wallet functionality into the IoTeX platform. I think that's another way to protect your asset. And besides the desktop wallet, mobile wallet we will provide. I think that's a very important piece.
Definitely. So stay tuned for more updates on VITA. If you haven't checked out VITA yet, definitely find the links in our Telegram group or on our Twitter and check it out. I think now is a great time, honestly, to accumulate VITA. Not only is it the time that the most VITA is being minted every day, but it's basically free for everyone to claim. So regardless of whether you think it's going to be a dynamite token in the future, or you just wanted to get some free IoTeX swag and IoT products, definitely claim your VITA and check out our Discord. We're dropping a lot of new features almost every day.
Yeah, I claim my VITA every day.
What would Raullen do? Raullen would claim all his VITA every day. Okay, so we're just gonna dive into your questions now. We've received a lot of pre-submitted questions this time, so thank you guys so much for being interested, and we're gonna take these one at a time. And also, if you have any questions while we're answering these, you feel free to comment in the chat section, and we'll answer those if we have time at the end. If not, we'll save them for the next AMA. So this is just kicking things off. So the first question is, looking back at your progress until now, what would you have done differently, if anything? So this is dating all the way back to mid 2017 when the project started. What kind of things? I mean, I think this whole thing is a very big learning process. So I guess what are some perspectives that we learned along the way?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Also, like a very tough one and interesting one.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking this like all the day, all the time. If I would do something different, how would I do it? Right? What's the thing? So I would think like so far we're making like a really good progress, like given like the team size, the company size. We have done this blockchain from scratch. We have all our innovations actually integrated into this blockchain. And also, I think like on the token side, everything goes so well. Listed on big exchange. Still like there are big exchanges like in the pipeline. I think token side is also good. Like one thing, if I would have more resource, I would like have maybe put more resource into is like this IoT very focused kind of application side or partnership, whatever. So we do have the plan, to actually expand the team a little bit, to have like a more IoT people on board, to really like a focus IoT focus like applications. So that's the thing I think will make like IoTeX blockchain very, very different from other blockchains. For example, nowadays everybody's talking about DeFi, right? So DeFi is really simple. It's just like a call option. Basically, you have like a collateralized loan, you deposit Ether, you get like your MakerDAO out of this, and you buy more like a Ethereum, for example. So it's like a call option, very simple. But still, lots of people are talking about this, are actually doing this. So we know, we understand every bit about DeFi, and we do see it's like a big trend for the future. But what that distinguishes us most from all other blockchain companies is like this IoT narrative and also IoT vertical. For example, we are looking into like how DeFi and IoT can work together. A very concrete example is IoT is actually can provide lots of data sources, which will like push like a DeFi applications to the next stage. For example, if we want to do a loan, for example, now the loan is everybody have the same rate. But if like IoT device, IoT data, like machine data, can like feed into an oracle, which give you kind of like credit score kind of concept, then this DeFi application can read from this oracle and give you probably a better rates. Right. So that's like a very interesting story, and also like a very important piece we want to focus on.
Yeah, there's a lot of intersections, not just like pure IoT use cases, all about IoT security, but also just simply gathering data securely from IoT devices and funneling it into different applications. It's also very important.
Yeah.
It also can enable us to partner with a lot of different projects that have that same mindset. Right?
That's very true. Yes.
Yeah. Cool. So this next question is takes us even further back. So given your respective backgrounds, Raullen, former head of cryptography R&D at Uber, tech lead at Google, and Xinxin, senior research scientist at Bosch. And maybe some of you guys don't know this, but these guys used to be lab mates when they were doing their PhD in cryptography at University of Waterloo. So given your respective backgrounds, what was the moment where you said, we have to do this and we have to start IoTeX?
You want to take this one? Okay, you always leave the hard part to me. Yeah, sure. I think, so that's all the way back to, I think, Q3 in 2017, right? So that's where like two other co-founders, and Xinxin and me, like we just sat together, trying to what the world would look like 10 years from now, or maybe even 20 years from now, right? So, and we realized like this machine economy is like such a huge trend for everybody. Like we are already on the train, but probably not everybody can see it. Like you see, like right now it's very different from like 5 years before, right? So we are actually surrounded by all the data, all the sensor, everything. We are connected. Every piece of like our equipment, this thing are connected to the internet. And we see this is like a beginning of a very huge trend. And probably in the next 10, 20 years, everything should be active so differently. Like in my mind, I'm thinking like the ultimate kind of form of blockchain IoT is like the entire world, like a device, everything, people, human, device, machine will be connected by a neutral platform, and all the intelligence, data, everything, every bit from human being and machine will actually get integrated into this like a one platform. It sounds like Skynet, I know, but it's like kind of it's a good form of Skynet. So that's why we can't wait. Like we say, blockchain is already here, it's already getting started, and IoT, given its 5G and everything, is almost there, it's almost ready. Everything's to be connected, right? So we have to bring this gap together, we have to do something very different to change the world.
Yeah.
So that's come to like IoTeX.
Right. And I think that, I definitely echo the same thing. I think that, the IoT up to now is very vertically integrated, right? It's like a very big data silos, but blockchain gives you the ability to break down those silos and kind of horizontally scale. Xinxin, what do you think about
I think
that concept?
I think in the same view. So IoT, both IoT and blockchain are very big areas. Especially for the IoT perspective, it's still far from our initial vision. It's like every piece of IoT device will be connected together. Look at what's existing application landscape. It's still far from that vision, I believe. Every applications, most applications are basically it's application silos. You need a way to really connect all the pieces together. At a certain time, the blockchain just come out, and I think it's really the innovation in terms of the how to transfer the trust. Look at back from many years, people living the world which you really rely on many trust intermediary to really build applications, and that's what's your basic daily life looks like, right? You rely on the bank, rely on the lawyer to do many things. The blockchain really a transformation of how you deal with decentralized trust. When these two concepts come together, I think it's a great time to bring something new. And realize the ultimate goal for the IoT.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So this next question is around hooking up IoTeX to the real world. So given the amount of IoT devices out there in the world and their lack of security and privacy, how hard would it be to retrofit various devices to make use of IoTeX? Yeah, I think there's different levels to this too, right?
Yeah.
We've already integrated, some basic smart home devices and some, different types of trackers that we practice with all types of IoT devices all the time. But what kind of levels are there, right? It's like, just integrating it to the blockchain is one thing, but adding the security and privacy that's not native within this device and kind of added by the platform is a different story.
Yeah, so I think that's you're right. Basically, this is like probably I think the two orthogonal dimensions we have here, right? So one is on the IoT device side. I think the first thing we want to do is like connectivity, but that's 5G's business. It's not our business. So 5G will provide connectivity. That's basically step one. And on top of this one, I think identity of the device should be like a very important piece of work. Actually, we're having like lots of progress on it as well. Giving like each of the device, for example, this one like an identity, so you can talk with each other, so others can trust him, for example, right? Then step two is like the data. So once this guy has an identity, he can connect to the internet or maybe the like IoT network. So it should be able to trying to submit data and also retrieve data from the network. Think about like if this is a human being, right? Like the entire platform is like a Google. So you can contribute data to, and also you get some benefits from contribute data to this big platform. So that's step two. Step three is like kind of like they just benefits from each other. For example, like this bottle, for example, something like with this cup, probably like, we will take over and also have some benefits. They will have this interoperability. So that's step three. So I think that's on the same side. On the blockchain side, right? It's basically like also gonna dimension is how can we make this platform better? How can we make it like a more decentralized? I do think that decentralization is the key to the success. And then how can we make it secure? And third one is like more features like privacy, privacy preserving computation, like we are working on, and probably something else. So that's two like a very orthogonal things to me.
That's interesting that you prioritized decentralization first, and then kind of going down towards the features. And I think having that by design is also very important, especially now we see some projects straying away from the fully decentralized vision, and I think that that will end up being a bad decision.
Yeah, I think that's right. Actually, we got lots of questions that are like asking about sharding, right? Because sharding is like a really hot topic. Actually, everybody's talking about it. But I personally think like a sharding and layer one blockchain is a terrible idea. It's a wrong direction, like for people to do that. like a layer one blockchain should be definitely very pure, very simple, and decentralized. If you want like high, kind of TPS, you do sharding, you do like a very, decentralized. Some of the nodes have probably 7 delegates, right? So such a thing, that's basically like a ruin your layer one blockchain. So that's why like IoTeX will never do like a sharding kind of thing at layer one. So that's wrong.
Right. Yeah, but going back to the original question, I think Xinxin has some great perspectives on, what does blockchain add to these smart devices? Like, just because you connect a lot of smart devices in a network doesn't mean that's a smart network. So how does blockchain kind of bring us to that smart network?
Yes, actually, we can think about this problem from the 2 different aspects. From the IoT side, I think one major issue is most of IoT devices, they are not secure when people design those, especially for those applications, due to the different issues like the cost of performance. The early IoT adopters, they didn't think about the security and privacy at the very beginning. That caused a lot of problems. That's why you see many data breaches incidents reported almost every day, especially in the IoT domain. So now, I think this trend is gradually changing. When I participated in the different type of IoT conference, people gradually realize they need to put security into device at the very beginning. That's a fundamental cause for all those data breaches, and that's the first step we need to consider to really build a secure IoT system. That's for the IoT part. It's gradually changing, and more secure IoT device will be introduced the network or introduced into the ecosystem in the following years. I believe that's a good thing. That's the IoT piece. However, that's for the different applications. They still have the application silo that haven't been completely solved yet. Multiple reasons for that. IoT system is rather complex. There are so many stakeholders along the supply chain. You have device manufacturers, you have chip manufacturers, you have system integrators, you have cloud service providers. All those different pieces, they play a different role in the entire IoT map. Okay, so also the different applications, they based on their trust on the different, for example, third parties. Okay, blockchain actually, like Larry mentioned, you can think it's a fabric. That's a fabric will connect all the isolated dots together. So you see, the blockchain actually will realize how we can transfer those trust among the different dots. Okay, that's a critical role blockchain will play in the future IoT world. And that's also I think it's a very smart way to bring all the different application silos together and implement what we call the ultimate feature of decentralized IoT application.
Yeah, definitely. That's super interesting. Like to understand all the different parties operating at different layers of this kind of Internet of Things, but blockchain is the one that will really kind of link them all together in the future. Yeah. So this next question, whoever sent this question sent 7 questions in one. So we're gonna answer every other question, maybe in a quicker fashion. But no, we appreciate the curiosity, but just wanted to be conscious of everyone else's time. There are a few coins out there right now that seem to be aiming towards the IoT. So what sets IoTeX apart? I know we've talked a lot about, IoTeX versus IOTA. So let's not talk about that this time. Like, what are the other kind of projects in IoT kind of really digging into, and how are we different? I think privacy is one big component of it, but also maybe different focuses on what people are tackling in the IoT space and blockchain.
Yeah, I think that's a very good angle actually. I think there are quite a few projects talking about IoT. Some are doing like a sharing economy, some are like a shareable routers, right? So like we talked with some of them before. Everybody's like a focus is different. IoT is still like a big unknown area, so I would like to appreciate those projects, like explore this unknown kind of kingdom together with us. That's really appreciated. Like our focus for now is actually really like on the identity and the data, and like trusted computing and blockchain is actually like the underlying technology to try to unlock lots of features, lots of possibilities in identity and data for machines. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of IoT projects focusing on moving data from device to device, but that's more like transactional IoT. Yes. Whereas we're diving into with the launch of Avoboard, more like computational IoT in a lot of ways, like edge computing using secure hardware and things like that. So this next question is around with the launch of Mainnet, when do we expect to see the exchanges switch over? So this is a question mostly around like native and ERC20 tokens. So
token side, right?
I think the ERC20, the Ethereum progress, the staking and voting on Ethereum has been very seamless, and I think the really good feedback from the community. So what are your thoughts after that? Are we going to maintain staking and voting on Ethereum for kind of a while going forward?
Yes.
And what are the decision factors involved in making that?
Yes, I'm actually writing a blog post talking about this. Xinxin has a paper actually. I think it's already submitted on the review right now. So the idea, like eventual form of IoTeX in terms of token is like this token lives on actually could be like a multiple blockchains. For example, it now lives on 2 blockchains. One is Ethereum, one is IoTeX, like a root chain. So Ethereum is more for governance, and this root chain is more for utility. Adding this together is like a total supply we have, right? So there's no inflation and everything. Like the idea should be like a very similar as like a POW. So think about POW. You have like a stake there, which is like a mining machine, which is like a low liquidity kind of assets you have. So we want like a mimic the similar kind of concept. So the same IoTeX token, but like the one on the native IoTeX blockchain, we have a higher liquidity, so it can be used for trading, utility, whatever. So that's why lots of the exchanges are actually switching over to native IoTeX blockchain. And on the other side, we have like the ERC20 IoTeX, which is called IoTeX. We will be leaving on Ethereum for I think probably 6 months from now, because we use Ethereum as an underlying governance layer. We don't have like other resources to do like another blockchain, so we will use Ethereum for now, which is pretty good. And those tokens will go through like a bridge. We have a decentralized bridge in between those 2 blockchains, so that you have native IoTeX token. You can go through this bridge, come to the Ethereum world, and do the staking, voting, and everything. And we plan to move all the trading things up to here. So this part we have a relatively low liquidity. Low liquidity provides security, right? So like I mentioned, decentralization and security, they are most important things to the success of a blockchain. So we want to have some low liquidity like IoTeX here to provide security and also governance as well.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the idea. Yeah.
Makes sense. This next question is around the native wallet and ledger capabilities. When can we expect the native wallet with ledger integration? So a lot of native wallets already out there, the web and the desktop wallets. There's also a mobile wallet for Android, I think already in beta. I think we're just testing it with some of our internal folks, and that should be coming out very soon. But Xinxin, when can the native wallets, or when will the native wallet with Ledger be coming out? I think we already submitted to.
Yeah, we already submitted the entire package to Ledger. It's within their review. After that, should be very soon.
Yeah, stay tuned. Very, very, very soon. This next question, I'm going to read it verbatim. Is it possible to introduce such an option as re-delegation of profits or reinvestment so that coins are not sent to delegates' purses or wallets, but are automatically delegated to implement the concept of compound interest? So I think this is, I think building that on chain would be kind of strange. And I think, we would try to keep it very simple. Simplicity is key, because if we had built something like this into the protocol, then it's very difficult to change later on. But I think, what are your thoughts? Maybe doing something of similar sorts, but kind of off-chain, a redistribution, with maybe a bonus or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's a very good a feature ask, right? For our new services, we are centralized services we are developing right now. Yeah, so I think that can be considered. Good idea.
Yeah. Re-delegation of profits. That's interesting. And I think I actually had one thought around right now it's a little difficult for people to understand like how to recontribute their profits from delegates back into the community. So I think one thing that we will do is establish more of a program where, if someone wants to donate 1, 2, 5% of their proceeds to benefit the IoTeX Foundation, even having like a cause of the month or a cause of the quarter where, we kind of from the foundation perspective, kind of source the funds from anyone that commits to that, and we'll deploy it accordingly. So I think that's an idea that you can look forward to, but most of that will happen off chain. Number 6, this is a very real question. The price of the token is not looking great these days. What factors do you think influence it, and what's your strategy to keep holding the community's attention?
Okay, so that's on the token side. I think like for now, like the market actually experienced like a I would say like a maybe starting stage for like a bull market, where like a Bitcoin is actually taking like a dominance of everything. You see lots of altcoins like IoTeX, also other altcoins are actually gets like a squeeze out a little bit. So that's probably reason one. Reason two is like we have some like private investors who got the tokens around the May, June-ish, and some of them actually convert to delegates, which is good, and some of them are not. So I think like they also like the ones who's not converted to delegates also create some selling pressures. But like our trading team tells me like this kind of selling pressures is kind of like phased out right now. So I think I have like a very strong feeling like IoTeX token will do a great job in the next few months.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand also, the nature of the industry, right? It's very cyclical, right? It's kind of like the debt cycle in traditional markets. Every time, Bitcoin gains dominance, then a lot of the capital flows up, and then once Bitcoin overpriced, then flows back down into more alt markets. So, we can definitely share more perspectives about that going forward. But an important thing to realize here is that while this is going on, even today, we just received word that we're in the top 25 projects in the entire industry from Flipside Crypto, which is which is a partner of CoinMarketCap, and they do a lot of very deep analytics into blockchain projects. So top 25 in overall projects, and I think top 5 in developer activity. So, a lot of what's going on in the secondary market on the price side is not really reflective of the progress that's really going on here. And so, for those of you that are staying committed, I think it will pay off in the future.
Yeah, of course. Also, we have some big announcement in the next few days. About token, just stay tuned.
This next one is around, what's your roadmap after Q4 2019, and when will you share a new roadmap? So, this is a good time, I think, to discuss. I think we published this roadmap probably early 2019, right? This current roadmap, and a lot has changed since then, right? Like as Raullen mentioned, a lot of the focus, is kind of moving up towards layer 2 and figuring out how to make IoTeX the most developable. So, not that we're like adjusting any of our major goals or long-term goals, but the sequence, I think, may be changing a little bit. Do you guys want to talk about that?
Yes, I think like we are taking like a more strategic approach to get where we want to be, right? So I think like the tech team is pretty busy right now to draft their like a technical roadmap for like a beta and GA. So end of this year and early of next year. And marketing team is also like working hard on kind of have like their own thing for like this like following quarters. Like I'm actually also like drafting like a new roadmap for the company for the project. Yeah, so I think we will have more to update in the next few days.
Yeah. Well, one question maybe to make this clear for everyone is like in 1 year or maybe in 6 months, right? At the end of 2019, like what can people be expecting? Like what releases will come between now and then?
Yeah.
So like for example, Mainnet beta and Avo board and I think Mainnet beta, we haven't really talked about that too much. So while we're launching a lot of things with the first token, the first DApp, the first hardware, we're also continuously building out the underlying blockchain infrastructure. So you guys talk a little bit about Mainnet beta?
Yeah, I think I can talk a little bit more about Mainnet beta. So actually, after the Mainnet launch, we have lots of debates internally. So there are two approaches we could take for Mainnet beta. One is like taking like a very technical approach, to do like some really hard stuff like ZKP-based pruning. There's like a BOS signature for random number generation. So this is like a very theoretical, also like a very technical approach to even dive deeper down into like the technical field of the blockchain. And another approach is more, application driven, like a user driven, developer driven, is how to make this blockchain, a little bit easier to use, for developers, for delegates, for users, right? And also make it like a more stable, faster a little bit, more decentralized, like I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like for Mainnet beta, we are going to going through this route a little bit because we do want to see like the blooming of the like entire IoTeX ecosystem. So we have to prepare our blockchain very ready for like a dApps subchains. So like a Mainnet beta, like all the features will be designed around this goal.
Mm-hmm. Right, definitely. So we'll definitely have more announcements about Mainnet beta soon.
Yeah, so you want to talk more about like the Avo chain?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for our chain aspect, so we will try to implement some applications using the trusted IoT device and combine with our blockchain functionality. I think it's maybe the first few trials in the IoT combined with blockchain world.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's have a lot of engineering challenges we need to overcome. However, I think it's a first great trial we are going to do. I think that's that's the right directions. We try to connect the trusted IoT device to the blockchain and either doing the data analysis or doing the private computing. I think that's a first attempt we are trying to achieve.
Yeah, that sounds like a very good mix of theoretical and practical, right? You're taking a very theoretical thing that's never really been done before, combining secure hardware and blockchain, but also using it to build a practical application building capabilities for developers. So
yes, I think that's also differentiates us from the other many blockchain IoT projects. Bring the data to the blockchain or bring the connectivity from the IoT world to blockchain, just the very first step. So we think about more how we really unlock the value for those data.
So more to come. I think just to answer the last part of the question, a new roadmap should be coming probably sometime this month. I think there's still some little things to figure out as far as kind of the sequencing of things goes. But I mean, for anyone watching, I think it's important to realize that regardless of your favorite blockchain project's roadmap, like there are going to be changes throughout the way. Like people are reacting. Like 6 months ago, start of Q1 till now, it's like completely different world, right? Yes. So it's natural to kind of readjust roadmaps and kind of reprioritize or resequence things. So we'll definitely have more details on that coming soon.
Yes. So actually, I want to emphasize. So the blockchain world is developing very fast. Yeah, there are so many startups working on the different aspect. Although our ultimate goal for blockchain IoT have never changed. However, we also need to make adjustment along the way.
Definitely. This next question is around the IoT marketplace. So could you share more details about the marketplace you're working on? When is it going to be launched? What products will be there, etc. So our ultimate goal is to have a very fledgling IoT marketplace in the future. What we're going to start with is more IoT giveaways. So we have a lot of great IoT manufacturer and distributor partners. They've already committed thousands of devices over the next year to give to the IoTeX community. So these guys are they have connections to a lot of small to medium and even large IoT manufacturers, and they have the ability to provide a lot of the latest IoT products to the community. So it's kind of using this direct channel of advertising almost to the IoTeX community, which is more IoT focused. But do you guys want to talk about the concept of a marketplace and kind of what types of things we'll be building in the future for that?
I think basically we will start with something like a really like a low-hanging fruit. Like Larry mentioned, it's like this VITA. We have this IoT giveaway. It's a very simple idea, but still that's basically give like our users some concept of how this IoT marketplace will work in the future, right? on the other like a more serious side is like we are developing this Alpha board and Alpha chain. So we have this idea of this like a kind of IoT oracle in a privacy preserving way. So I think that's basically like the cornerstone we have, and we will build like a marketplace on top of that. But still, that's like far down the road. That's not the thing we are actively building right now. We are building the foundation layer. We are building like this. It's like a new technology that has never been built before. So yeah, so I think sometimes I need it here.
That's a good point too, because even like with the VITA Discord, for example, for those of you guys that have checked out the VITA Discord, we built in some really cool features into it that may not look too impressive, but once you realize that all of the things, every transaction, every tip, every time you enter a poll, and in the future, anytime you enter a giveaway or do anything on the VITA Discord, those are real blockchain transactions. So we're kind of taking somewhat simple concepts and putting them on the blockchain and adding decentralization to it. So I think there's kind of more to come as far as how that will work in the future. This next question is about. The next 3 questions are kind of around the same topics here, so we're going to bundle them together. It's basically around our partnerships so far and how we have been progressing on those kind of things. So, some specific ones were around Lineable and around NKN. Congrats to NKN on their mainnet launch, by the way. Very good stuff. But what kind of updates on? Maybe I'll talk a little bit about our announced partners, and maybe you guys can give some hints about our unannounced partners. So, 2 different worlds, right? I think very public blockchain-focused partnerships, and also some direct like one-on-one engagement with different types of larger organizations. You guys want to start with the unannounced?
Yeah. So
as much as you can tell us.
Right. So there are like a bunch of like big name companies we're in talking with regarding like the IoT, right? And also blockchain. We cannot disclose the name right now. Some of them, but what I can disclose is like for some of them, we will have some kind of technical partnership. For example, they provide us with some at chip level, some software, some library, some technical knowledges we can directly use, right? Because for building ST, it's a huge amount of annual effort. We cannot do like every bit by ourselves, so we will partner with them to like leverage maybe some layers they're already there. So that's one type of technical partnership. Another is more like on the strategic level. Because we have this like TE everything working, so we will go there and present to them like a solution, a product. Say if you guys want, kind of try it out, you like it or not. Yeah, I think so far this approach being like a very effective. We have some of them on board. Actually, like I think Larry, me, we have like a very very ambitious plan about like forming a kind of some more more official kind of alliance, having all those big names join us. And talking about how we should do like this IoT and the blockchain, next year. So that's a very interesting, also very important step for the entire project and company. Is how we bridge like this blockchain world to like a much wider and broader world, which is non-blockchain, very IoT. So
it's almost like establishing partnerships with like real world organizations, not necessarily working with like building full stack like blockchain dApps, but leveraging each other's technologies. Like we provide them blockchain, they provide us also things in the traditional world that complements blockchain. Do you want to dig into a little bit more on that on the TEE side?
Yeah,
or just maybe for new viewers, just explaining
okay.
first what a TEE is and kind of what things we're working on with some companies.
So TEE stands for the Trust Execution Environment. I think it's one of the KPIs for bring the trusted IoT applications into real life. So we have a lot of interactions with our partners to see how we can bring the trusted IoT applications into blockchain world. How to put 2 pieces together in a appropriate way. So I think that's a very important direction we should go to bring some more meaningful applications. When combining the IoT and the blockchain world. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, just to touch on some of the announced partners that we have. Most of those guys are in the blockchain space, right? Like some of the ecosystem partners, like Seller, for example, are making a lot of moves in their kind of layer 2 scalability and things like that. We have conversations with them all the time, right? Like around how to best design layer 2 scalability, because we're both kind of working on that. Those kind of partnerships don't really amount to concrete, co-built deliverables, but it's more research partnerships and kind of keeping each other up to date, right? Partnerships, and even like partnerships like Lineable and NKN, for example, we've built things with NKN before, like the Airbnb of the future use case, where we kind of integrated a lot of different smart home devices with IoTeX blockchain and running on NKN's kind of connectivity network. We actually had a meeting with them a couple of weeks ago to talk about the next evolution of a project, mostly focusing on smart cities in the automotive sector. So really trying to figure out ways that we can combine our technologies to kind of create a proof of concept or a use case. But for some of the other projects, very truthfully and honestly to the community, it's like some of the other projects that we signed like mid 2018, like peak bear market time, a lot of these projects that we partnered with, some of them had difficulties fundraising, and that's been their number one priority, even for the past like 2-3 quarters, right? Lineable is one of them. Lineable, we've been one of our earliest partners, and they've been fundraising and just completed a big round led by Semtech, and they're just starting to issue purchase orders to different companies. So even though their roadmap is pushed back a little bit just due to natural things in the blockchain industry, I think now is the time you'll start to see more projects doing applications and things like that. So hopefully there's more concrete things to be delivered, but just some clarifications on that for everyone there. This next question is around home surveillance and security. So do you see IoTeX having a role in home surveillance and home automation? And if so, what kind?
Yeah, I think smart home and home automation is a very important topic in the IoT world. I think IoTeX actually can play a very important role. Think about how your home automation system works right now. You purchase a different type of IoT devices from different manufacturers. You install maybe tens of apps for each device, right? Each time you use one app to control one IoT device to see what's happened, and it's really hard for those devices to talk with each other. And I don't think it should call the home automation. They can automation in the certain degree. For example, you have a few light bulbs and maybe smoke detector from the same manufacturer. Then they most likely they can talk to each other. However, you can see your thermostat, maybe your thermostat, your other IoT device from the different manufacturers. It's really hard for them to talk with each other. The IoTeX blockchain can play the role to connect them together in the future. I think that's we already talked. That's interoperability functionality. We will finally add into this ecosystem.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that whole space is interesting because in the security or home security area, like the most sensitive things are like for example, a lot of my friends have those in-home cameras, right?
Yes.
Nanny cams or monitoring their dogs and things like that. If that stuff gets in the wrong hands, then they basically know, whatever you do in your house, like that's very, very, very private kind of things, right?
Yes.
So,
yes. I want to add a little bit for that. So, like Larry mentioned, those like the surveillance camera inside your home, that's very important if the security got breached. Besides to connecting all your devices together, that's why we also consider the security and privacy very seriously. Our trust hardware will help in that aspect. So our goal is to realize user-controlled security and privacy. You will determine where your personal data or your personal camera data will go. Instead of being directly sent to the cloud provider you are currently use, you have more flexible choice how to keep your data privately.
Yeah, I was trying to buy like a at-home camera thing for my parents. I don't live in a house, I live in an apartment, so I don't have anything to surveil, but when I bought this camera, it came with like a $5 cloud package add-on.
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of people just click that box and don't know what the security features of this proprietary cloud are. So, putting a lot of trust in the hands of device manufacturers, I think that will change with blockchain is what Xinxin is saying. So we have around 7 questions left and about 10 minutes left. So we're going to do more rapid fire. This first question is around what's the benefit of 3-day withdrawal period after unstaking? This person specifically has staked for 56 days, so we can't see a reason why they can't be released immediately after that period is done. Do you want to explain some of the decision making?
So the design here is mostly for like a security and safety. Basically, like if something like a mess up, no matter like your account being like stolen by some other hackers, or like you like maybe a malicious delegate did something very very harmful to the system, probably they just want to grab the asset and go away, right? So we want like a stake with the system for 3 days. We're not so crazy. Like Cosmos has 21 days on staking period. So we think 3 days should be good enough. So it also echoes back to my previous talk about we want to have like a low kind of liquidity assets kind of token idea to to more have a network more secure. So it's along the same line.
Definitely.
Yeah.
This next question is around how many nodes do you have and how many tokens do you need to run a node and what are the rewards? So I think there's different types of nodes in the network. If you're talking about delegates, then right now there's probably around like 60 or so delegates and the number is growing. We have some big names coming on board very soon as well. How many tokens do you need to run a delegate node? The minimum requirement right now is 1.2 million IoTeX self-staked, as well as another 800,000 votes. So 1.2 million tokens and a minimum of 2 million votes is what you need to become a delegate and start to receive rewards. And yeah, I think that was more of an informational question. Definitely take a look at some of the articles that we've written around, we have the voter handbook, delegate handbook that has a lot of details about these.
Yeah, also we have like a low bar to being a delegate because we want to be more inclusive to community. Like I said, decentralization is the key to the success of blockchain.
Mm-hmm. What killer features has IoTeX? Does IoTeX have that are ahead of the competition? That's the first one. We talked a lot on this session around Avo board and different kind of capabilities and new innovations, I guess. But maybe do you want to touch on, I guess people also operating in that kind of Avo board space quickly around or just from your perspective, how would you answer this question?
Yeah, so IoTeX have I feel like innovations. One is like a role depots, like a consensus. The idea is trying to be decentralized and also fast at the same time. So there are a bunch of materials online. You can take a look. And second one is like the privacy technology we have. For now, we use like TE and trusted computing to realize this type of privacy technology. So you will see things like more impressive. For example, you can do like a privacy preserving contract, maybe a token transfer, or even like you can issue a ERC20 token in a privacy preserving way, like a privacy token. Right? Those fancy features will coming out, I think, in the next 2 quarters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely the privacy side again, I think is super important. This next question around how does VITA intend to open up technology to the community and to researchers so it can be continuously improved? So like a lot of the things on IoTeX blockchain are fully open source. Are there plans to fully open source VITA in the future?
Yeah, of course. Like VITA is a ERC20 token on top of IoTeX, right? I'm not sure if the contract code has been open source, but we should.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think the question regards open up technology. Okay, research. So for the VITA, it provides lots of things to us. For example, because it's the first D app actually running on top of IoTeX blockchain, it helps us to identify lots of missing pieces down the road. For example, we feel like, our desktop wallet is not good enough. It cannot talk with the browser, so user cannot, sign something using a browser like a MetaMask does. Another example could be, so you guys don't have a mobile wallet. All right, mobile wallet will be super easy for users to have use in lots of application scenarios. So I think VITA is kind of project trying to identify those missing pieces for us.
Right.
And also VITA, because we have very active community in the VITA, so we do have lots of feedbacks from the community as well at this moment. That's also help us to improve.
Yeah, good. I mean, I think we launched VITA almost like a soft launch, right? Like slowly introducing features and making sure we have all of the user required features that allow people to use VITA easier in our browser and in our wallets and things like that. So I'm sure everyone that's been following along for the past month has seen a lot of these like explorers and wallets and tools really expand. So that would definitely continue in the future. And the VITA smart contract has already been verified by Slow Mist, which is a formal verification company. But I think as Raullen said, that token contract should be fully open sourced as well very soon while we kind of prepare some more things. So the last set of questions here, we'll do rapid fire. What do you think about smart contract oracles like Chainlink?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think we will have like announce something together with them in the next week after July 4th here, because in US July 4th is like a kind of like a vacation week for lots of companies. But we will announce something with them in the next week. Yeah, so that's a really good
early
question.
sneak peek.
Early sneak peek. Yeah.
Sorry, Chainlink. So how many difficulties? How many difficulties did you pass to develop the project? Maybe let me rephrase this question. What's the hardest thing that we have done to date?
Yeah, I think the developing a blockchain project is facing a lot of engineering challenges. Hardest things to how to bridge the like a theoretical aspect to the blockchain platform. I think there's a lot of gap when you really implement, for example, the consensus and also other protocols, and made it fit well to your engineering system. I think that is the hardest piece for every team.
Yeah, I mean, I have a question about this, right? So I mean, this is hard for everyone, right?
Yes.
All developers, it's hard to create a blockchain, but how do you guys think about like, I always understand that there's like levels to everything, right? Different levels of sophistication. I think we're on the far spectrum of sophisticated, but what are the different tiers? Like, how do you, if you're looking at a code base, how do you distinguish like this is a very sophisticated blockchain versus this is kind of crap? Not crap, but like less sophisticated.
Yeah, I think that's more like an engineering question, but by looking at the repo, I think a very experienced engineer, he can tell or she can tell if this a very organized repo, organized project by looking at the code, like the folders, even the naming of the variables, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like looking at a piece of artwork. You can tell like immediately. So it's like a masterpiece, or it's just like piece of like a piece of shit. Right? So it's kind of it's like an engineering intuition, which builds into a lot of us.
Okay.
Back to this question, right? Like the most hard part in addition to the engineering challenges is how to figure out the way from now to the goal we are actually getting. So there are like hundreds, even thousands of ways to getting there, and probably 99% of them are lead to a failure. But we want to figure out like the one, probably anyone successful like the path from here to the goal we're aiming for. I think that's a hard part for me at least.
Yeah. Very reactive cycle.
Right.
Proactive and reactive, right?
Right.
You kind of have your own initiatives, but you need to react to what other people are doing, or the big kind of enabling things, right? A lot of people are sending out open source things and not necessarily have to do everything in house anymore. So this next question is around PR. Are you going to do any work for PR? So specifically on the PR and the media side, right? I think that our perspective on this is, we feel like every project has like a first impression, right? And even though IoTeX, we have a very technical team and great background, and have made tons of progress over the past couple of years, I still feel like the best is yet to come. So investing a lot in marketing and PR, just still like introducing something that is still very much in progress, right? Like if you take a snapshot of IoTeX today, I'm sure it's very impressive. But if we're really going to spend a lot of big marketing dollars and PR attention, I think it should be at a time when we're ready to 100% go. I mean, how do you think about this kind of issue?
Yeah, I feel like what we need is like an organic PR, basically, right? So like hype is good at some time, but we like in the longer run, we think like organic PR will be like a more beneficial for the projects. So for example, if you have like some really good things you want to announce to the world, I think that's probably like a PR we need.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, with the launch of Avo, and I feel like Avo would be a big bridge between the traditional IoT communities, the hardware communities, and the blockchain communities. So PR, I think, to the blockchain world is already kind of like this disaster environment, right? It's like it's pay to play. It's unclear how much like traction you're actually getting, but we're taking more of like a professional approach and sophisticated approach to that, I think, on the PR side. This last question, how many weeks, months, etc. can we claim VITA? You can claim VITA forever. Not forever, but probably for the next 4 years at least. Every VITA is minted every 25 hours. And for those that haven't been in tune with VITA, you can earn VITA in a lot of different ways. The bidding pool, you can claim VITA if you're an IoTeX voter. You can do tasks for VITA. Maybe this is a good chance to close. Like, what can any additional thoughts on VITA and kind of the direction that's heading?
Right. So for the VITA, we do have like an economic design under VITA. So probably take a look. I think the supply of VITA will not half, right? 80%, 85% down every 3 months, 90 days. So it is still like it's kind of like a Bitcoin, but like goes with like a much faster pace. So just claim your VITA.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's all the questions we've received. I think that's most questions we've answered on on an AMA before. So thank you so much for your participation. And definitely look out for more announcements coming very soon. We have improvements to the analytics that we talked about, new papers from Xinxin, new things from Raullen as well, and from the entire team. So any final thoughts for the community before we sign off?
Waiting for more announcement and exciting development.
Yeah, thanks everybody for your support. I know like the token price is not looking really great right now, but I do have a very strong feeling we will have a success. Yeah, so it's just like stay with us, give us a little bit more time, and we will never let you down.
I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Buy more. Just kidding. That's not financial advice. Disclaimer. All right. So we're signing off. Happy 4th of July weekend to everyone in America and to those around the world. Also, hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.